Currently, I saw the announcements are going on. इसलिए I was speaking slowly. So at the outset, I'd like to welcome all the family members who have gathered here, the Bhadbhade clan and the extended Bhadbhade clan. And I'm so happy to see all of you here and to give some introduction about today's theme, which was actually very, everything was created at a very short notice, everything was planned. But it was in my mother's head that she wanted to do some kind of, remembrance and some kind of, get together and gathering to commemorate the memory of Kishore Dada. So, who was our, Bhadbhade family's
hero.
Very hero and a very loved, very loved son of the Bhadbhade family. We all were very young at that time, but there are people here who will share their views about him.
Memories.
So actually, I'll tell about him after this. But first of all, I'll invite Kiran Bhide Nair, to sing a song which will be suitable for commemorating Kishore Dada. So Kiran, please.
किरण चेअर घ्यायची का तुला
माइक डायरेक्शनल माइक आहे त्यामुळे
I have to just like this or something. She will be able to hold it better. But मला वाटतं माझा आवाज तसा पाहिजे.
हे मेरे वतन के लोगों सगळ्यांना माहितीच असेल. तुम खूब लगा लो नारा, ये शुभ दिन है हम सबका, लहरा लो तिरंगा प्यारा, पर मत भूलो सीमा पर वीरों ने है प्राण गंवाए, कुछ याद उन्हें भी कर लो, कुछ याद उन्हें भी कर लो, जो लौट के घर ना आए, जो मेरे वतन के लोगों जरा आँख में भर लो पानी, जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी, तुम भूल न जाओ उनको इसलिए सुनो ये कहानी, जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी। जब घायल हुआ हिमालय, खतरे में पड़ी आजादी, जब तक थी सांस लड़े वो, जब तक थी सांस लड़े वो, फिर अपनी लाश बिछाई, संगीन पे धर कर माथा, सो गए अमर बलिदानी, जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी। जब देश
जब अंत समय आया तो जब अंत समय आया तो कह गए कि अब मरते हैं। खुश रहना देश के प्यारों, खुश रहना देश के प्यारों। अब हम तो सफर करते हैं, अब हम तो सफर करते हैं। क्या लोग थे वो दीवाने, क्या लोग थे वो अभिमानी, जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी। तुम भूल न जाओ उनको, इसलिए कही कहानी, जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी। जय हिंद की सेना, जय हिंद की सेना, जय हिंद, जय हिंद, जय हिंद।
ते खाली ठेवली त्याच्या मी असं टाकून दे त्याच्या खाली. येस.
Armors Regiment, Indian Army. He was commissioned into the Indian Army in 1969, born in 1950. So passed out from NDA, and before that he was educated in Sindhya School, Gwalior. A very decorated cadet of the NDA, and then Indian Military Academy also. So posted, commissioned in 1969. In the 1971 war, he was posted in the 71 Armors Regiment and given an independent lead an independent battalion. The idea was to draw enemy fire at the Rajasthan border. The 71 Rajasthan
ताई
regiment was following them. 71 Rajasthan regiment was following them, and these Kishore and his three tanks, they were at the front. So they were like scouting for the enemy, and their aim was to drive enemy fire, how they say in army. So where the enemy is hidden, that was to be found out. So for that they were there. They went there, and he was in the front. He took out his head out of the tank, and a bullet hit him at the head neck injury, they call it. And due to that bullet, the enemy position was located, where the enemy is, because that was their task. So they succeeded in doing that, but at the cost of Kishore Dada's life, Kishore Bhadbade. Then Deepak Dada, who is my brother, he told me that there was in another tank, there was Captain Deepak something, his name.
Krishna something.
No, just
Deepak
Deepak Samanwar, so from Pune. So he was also there, and this second lieutenant R.L. Singh was there. So R.L. Singh pulled him out of the tank, and that time he was breathing. So, and then he just kept him on the ground, and he was lost. But after that, the battalion which was following them, the 71 rifles, they were able to just, उन्होंने enemy का सफाया कर दिया पूरा, and this happened due to him. Another thing was that he was buried there. He was the last rites were also done there only at that place, and the thing was that his own 71 Armors Regiment, where he was posted, the independent command, it was said, independent command was given. So his commander, Kishore's commander, was 70 kilometers away. Because on the long border, there were many such independent commands who were searching for the enemy locations. So they were 70 kilometers away, and things could not be, and then the war, it was on 6th of December. We all remember that the 71 war started on 3rd December 71 and lasted till 16th of December. So due to that, all the documentation and all that was not done as it could have been done, or as it was. So finally, only due to this R.L. Singh, we could know, the second lieutenant R.L. Singh, we could know what exactly had happened there and how he had been brave to lead and draw the enemy fire. So I think that was the story told to me by Deepak Dada, who is again a cousin, and Malotya's son, and my aunt's son. And he had the honor to meet these people, and there was a complete celebration was done, and in a party this story was recited, and Indian Army paid their tribute to Kishore. To tell about him, because I was very young at that time. So there are two people here, मेरे दो बड़े siblings यहाँ पर हैं, Kaustubh Dada और Sujata Tai. So first I'll call Sujata Tai to share some of her memories about Kishore. Sujata Tai, please.
चेयर देऊ का तुला उभं राहून
I think all these Manjari, Shubha, and all of them were very young. I think they're all 60 born. So
I'm 70 born, so I was
you were 70.
1 year old.
So basically, they wouldn't remember much of Kishore at all. And we were in Devdali at that time, most of the time, and Jhansi, Devdali. So memories are starting. If I can start, I more remember from Jhansi when we were quite young, and that was in 56, 58 time. So Kishore was quite a talkative and a very naughty child. Basically, he would love to talk, and he would, disturb the school, the classrooms. So the teacher would try to put him in different corners to, distract, so that he doesn't distract. But he would invariably find somebody he could talk to, and he would be quite mischievous. But he was basically very interested in the army's way of life. And I still remember that when my daddy and all used to, my father was a gunner officer. So in the regiment they had these exercises. So they used to take, about 2 months off, and they would take, practice if there's a warfare, what happens, kind of a thing. So then all the jeeps and the artillery guns and things would be going along the road, very, very close to it. And someday we suddenly find, when this thing was to be exercise, being prepared and going ready, all the vehicles, we would send Kishore on the road. What would he be doing? He would be saluting every vehicle that was going. I was very crazy about this. Then later on, Keshav, that's my husband, he was in the paras. So once we went and visited him in Agra, where the para jumps were there. So invariably he saw Keshav jumping from the chute and coming down and all. So he thought that's a very good idea. He and his friend took an umbrella, climbed up a tree, and jumped.
Oh, God.
Luckily, there was a pond down below, so they didn't get hurt. But he thought by taking an umbrella and jumping from the tree down, he will be doing something like a parachute, you know. So this was all his ideas as a youngster, as a child. He had these crazy notions of trying out whatever he could. Later on, of course, when we went to the Lali and he passed out from there. And of course, there we had, of course, with the army facilities, riding and all that. So he became quite good at riding horses and all, which helped him in his NDA and IMA, because then he was selected for inter competitions for water polo and horse riding polo. So he participated in that. So all these facilities, because of the army background, he got that. And later on, when he finished his schooling, Cambridge he had that time, and he wanted to join the army. But my father said he thought that he should have some background of basic education. But in case suppose he didn't like army after some time and he wanted to get out, he should have at least a degree. So he said, I think you should go to college, see how it is, and then we'll decide what about it. So 1 year he went. He respected daddy about it. But then the 62 war started, 64, 62, and then the Chinese war, and then we had this Pakistan war also, 65 war. So when he heard that, he came away after that. He told daddy, he said, Dada, I don't want to continue with my studies. You think that I can go to college because you were saying so. But I can always not attend a college, not give an exam. So what's the point of just making me do this exam and do this college? I would like you to sign, for my NDA. So that's finally daddy said, okay, since you're so keen on joining. So that's how we went to NDA. He had a wonderful time in NDA, 4 years there, 1 year in IMA. And he was a cadet captain, as they say, there also he had a position. And he did well and came out. And that time also they were saying, you join the infantry, because he was the high order. He said, no, I want to join the armed corps, armed force, and armored corps. So daddy was saying, why do you want to join armored corps? You can join artillery or something. He says, no, he was enamored by the tank and all that. So he said, no, I want to join the armored corps. So that's how he joined armored corps. And he was his first posting after as a young officer, he was sent off to during the war and just recently started also. So he was sent to 71 Armored Regiment, was posted during the war, 71 war, just before it, along the Dera Baba Nanak, the Pakistan border. And he was an intelligence officer there. So he had to go across the border, find out what the enemy plans were, come back and give the report to the senior. And he was doing a very good job of it. So when this emergency was declared, people were just moved, because they wanted to create new regiments or new squadrons and all that. So they picked up people from different places, from different regiments, from different, and they were sent to Ahmednagar to get, create a new battalion or a new squadron. So that's how he was selected and he was sent to Ahmednagar. That was in 71. And he was asked to create a squadron of 6 tanks. And it was called the 6 Independent Squadrons. So that time when he came there, he asked us to come and visit him. He says, I have still got a few days before he can move out. So we had all gone. And that time, my mother, Keshav, daddy and all of us. And that's the time when he told my father and Keshav that please take all my luggage and everything, my trunks and everything, because I'm not going to come back. So my daddy said, why? You're in the armored corps, you're in the tank, you're supposed to be protected. He said, no. He said, we are going into a territory which is unknown to us. We have never, normally in the army they always recce as they call it, survey the whole thing before anybody goes into the territory. So he said we are going into Rajasthan, into Longewala territory, where there are just sand dunes. The enemy has already entered, and we have not been able to know where the enemy is hiding. So he says, for us, it's totally a new area. And he says, we are going to be one of the targets. So he said, I'm being a troop leader, I'll be a target, definitely. So my father said, why should you be the target? You are going to be inside the tank. He says, no. Because when you sit inside the tank, the vision is very limited. You just get just about, a few kilometers distance. You don't get. So he says, no, we have been now taught to sit over the tank and view, so that we get a broader view and we can tell our gunners where to shoot, the tank, this thing. So he says, no, I want to be sitting on top of the tank, not inside the tank. So my father would say, you're being foolhardy. He said, no, because we don't know the area, we don't know where the enemy is positioned. So we are going to have to find it out through this kind of, being a sitting duck for them. And that's how he was one of the first persons, and I think the only officer who got killed in that area, because after that the next tank came, that JCO also got killed. And then they realized where the firing was coming from, which part of the dunes the firing was coming. And that's how they could get the right positioning of the thing. And then the Air Force also came in. And that's how you see the border story when you see the picture. It was helped a lot by the Air Force also, because they shot down many of those tanks from up above. And they were very successful in helping the Armored Corps and the other things to fight and win the battle. Other regiments and all came along, but that was how he died. And he was cremated and there only. And of course, the ashes were brought, but for my mother it was too much of a trauma. She wouldn't believe for many, many years that he was no more. So that was how it was. But as a brother and sister, we were great. We had our birthdays consecutive. His was 28th and mine was 29th. So my mother used to try to celebrate it once my birthday, once his birthday. So, and just before, I think I remember him, he came from Nagar for my birthday, and he had got a sari for me, he says. And he gave me cash. He says, you go and buy a sari for yourself. And so that is what I still have, that sari of mine. I kept it like a prized possession. So these my family, and we were very close. And I think Jyoti and Deepak were the only ones who were close enough at that age to be there. I think Kausu was also pretty young.
11.
11.
Yeah, 14, sorry. 14.
You were 14, so you would remember. Suhas Dada, of course, was there, and Anuradha was there. So they would have memories of him. Because I think Kishore joined his regiment also, 71, if I'm not mistaken. So I was also married and pretty young, so with all these two young kids, it was quite a thing, keeping track of him. But he was a very lovable fellow, full of jokes. He had his motorcycle, he would come, and once he made me sit and he revved up and it literally like a horse, the front part went up. I said, what are you doing? I'm slipping down from behind. He says, no. And that day when he came, he had already hurt himself badly. I mean, he had injured himself. I think he must have had an accident. But he never told my mom or, But I just saw those things. He said, just keep quiet, don't, otherwise mom will just get upset over the whole thing. And she won't allow me to ride the bike again. So that was Kishore and my memories of him. And he knew, and I think his friends of that age group also passed away in that war. Many of them were parachutes in the Bangladesh side. So they all knew these youngsters, and they said, we will show the Pakistanis, teach them a lesson. for the next 20-25 years they shouldn't trouble us. And that was, the next was the 1991, I think, the Kargil
Kargil.
War.
1999.
99, Kargil War. So he did keep to their words, I think all of them, and they were real sacrificed with, I mean, it was so surprising when you think of these young people just going there and knowingly dying for the country. And with full this thing, no fear. There was no fear at all. So that was what it was amazing. And we of course, my mother and myself got to know all this later on. Because he knew my mother wouldn't take it at all. So his tank came for repairs, and Keshav was the one in the workshop who repaired. And then he got the details of how, because nobody would tell us exactly what happened. Because that time they only just send you that the person is no more or missing or whatever it is. They don't tell you exactly what happens. It's only, as the Deepak was saying, we got from that major, Lieutenant R. Singh or P. Singh or whatever it is. So that was how Kishore was. Very full of life, full of jokes. I still have those round cards, if you remember Karthik in that thing. Nothing is impossible, everything is full of fun and life. So, like that, his sense of humor was also great. And we both used to love to argue. He was just love to argue with me, just for the sake of arguing. Nothing but arguing. Whether he was right or wrong, that was not the point. It was just arguing. So I used to tell him, why do you want to argue for? No, the fun is wanting to get, egg me on, so that I get it. But that was what it was. So, I have very good memories. And when you sang the song, I was too emotional and thinking of the whole situation.
You tell us about your father also, how he withstood this severe situation. That is something very, very.
Yes.
He was civil defense chief at that time.
Dad, I think my father and mother both with them turned grey overnight in the news. My father, of course, was amazing also, and my mother, of course, being a woman, I think it's very difficult. You can express it emotionally by crying. For a man, it's very difficult to do that. So he just took it in his, quietly went back to his work for the civil defense.
His boss told him.
Huh?
His boss told him to go back.
Yeah, Devuskar, Brigadier Devuskar was his boss that time, I remember. But he said no, because that is what it is. He says, it's my duty. My son has done his duty and sacrificed his life. I can't just sit at home and, I have to go. So he never showed it till the end, what he really felt in his heart, except once. When I found him, Kishore was being honored in Kothurut side one day, one of the organizations. And that is the time when I saw my father, after many years, break down, literally break down. Otherwise, I'd never seen him cry. And he says, मध्ये आपण म्हणतो ना आपला वंश, माझा वंश गेला. So he felt it that time, which was, I always thought being a theosophist, he had taken it very nicely and he was, but that is the time I felt, no, he is also a very human being like all of us. He also feels the pain which he has been hiding from all of us. So that is what it was. And he loved my grandsons. That was for him later on a very good thing. His fondness for cheese and tomatoes, this younger fellow Ishan has taken it because they stayed with him. So he enjoyed that part of it. I think later on but he immersed himself in theosophy and got more and more deeper into it and did a lot of studies and did a very good thing. So my memory of my father was that म्हणतो ना आपण पचवलं, दुःख पचवलं, तसं त्यांनी ते केलं स्थितप्रज्ञाचं. आणि माझ्या आईला त्यांनी खूपच सपोर्ट दिला, त्यामुळे तिला नंतर तेही कोलमडले असते तर मला वाटतं कोणीच म्हणजे स्थितीच राहिलं नसतं. त्यामुळे ही वॉज अ रिअल स्टॉइक अँड स्थितप्रज्ञ. मराठीत तोच एक शब्द आहे स्थितप्रज्ञ त्यांच्या त्यांनी हे केलं. So that is what it was, my father. And he has given good groundings to even my daughter-in-law, who will also stay with him. So she also learned and appreciated, and now enjoys reading theosophy and all that books. So you can see how it has affected all of them in some way or the other. So thank you all of you. Thank you, Asha Kaki, for bringing all these memories back. Yes, this is a very wonderful picture of all the four brothers.
You only have given it.
Yeah, I did. And that is my father's 60th birthday. That's the only photograph I have of both of them smiling, and you know, because after the tragedy, this is their photograph. So that's really a wonderful thing. Thank you, Asha.
This is just one example. Every day on TV and all, we see so many we learn about so many army jawans who are losing their life for the country. And behind that, kitni badi story hoti hogi, and what is the story behind the family which they leave behind, and what the family goes through till they are alive. We can, as Bide Kaka rightly said, that Ragha Kaka just on outward, he always outwardly, he have never expressed any grief, hardly ever. And
I think I wanted to hear it and I got it. The kind of a bravery that was shown by him, that in spite of the dangers that would come his way, I distinctly remember when I was told that he was hit on the chest. And I said, why? He was in the tank. Why did he get hit here? So this was the explanation that I got from Sujata Pai, that he made sure that he observed whatever he was sent for. He was sent for reconnaissance. He was sent for looking at the enemy, identifying the enemy positions, etc. And I don't know, Sujata Pai went forever in. That he found out the enemy in spite of all these things by putting his life on the line. That's something which we can follow in different ways today also. I'm not talking about a war, but I'm talking about the kind of a dedication that a person has. Many a times that we find something impossible, something beyond our capacities. And do we really exert? Do we really try getting it done? I think the answer is here. If we do all that, we will be able to do it. We will be able to achieve whatever is supposedly impossible things. Okay, thank you again. I was just 14 years old, and even before that, I had seen Kishore Dada come to Ganeshwadi, as we used to call it at that time. he used to park the motorcycle outside the gate and come inside. And I don't clearly remember, but he used to visit Azoba definitely. And I don't know how many people have seen my grandfather at that time. He passed away in 81, so maybe not. But he used to every time come meet Azoba and go back. And while going back, we used to just keep how is it going. So you can imagine a bullet or a Java cycle. I think it was Java motorcycle. So he used to remove the stand by lifting the front. 6 footer, 6+ footer, you can imagine one of these people standing. Please stand.
Oh,
Yeah.
the next thing.
Yeah. So he used to just stand on the motorcycle, tuck, and the stand used to come out.
Yeah, I mean now there's only a side stand now. There's no kicking involved.
And I was told later that he could do Pune to Ahmednagar in 1 hour 15 minutes. I don't know. But was it exaggerated? I don't know. But I used to say, oh my God, how can he do it? Because even today, you can't make it within 3 hours or 2 hours. Motorcycles can go faster. But so I do distinctly remember that. Another time I do remember, and it has left a imprint in my brain, is when the news came and we had got to Jamkhindi Karawada. We were sitting there. And I was just wondering how Revataka can be so stoic and hard in a way. I couldn't imagine him being so soft. He was soft. Later on I realized when I grew up myself. So how did he steel himself inside? And how did he put himself to work when he had so much of pain inside? So that says a lot about him as well. Well, I need a cock sheet for that. I'll just relate to you 4 days later when Deepak was it in the same year? But Deepak, the war was still on, and Deepak Dada and we were sitting there just outside the Ganeshwadi house. And Deepak Dada was so charged about it. Apan ka nahi karu shakal. Why are we sitting here? That was the kind of a feeling that we had. And I was much younger, much impressionable age. So these were the basic things. I still want to remember a lot. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Memories of the show.